Most every American loved freedom a lot, but the Grump, who lived in the White House, did not. Oh, the Grump hated democracy, and he thought he was king. Now please don't ask why, I can't explain such a thing. Maybe his ego was a little too grand, or he couldn't get over the size of his hands. Perhaps the orange of his skin was too bright, or perhaps his toupee never fit him quite right. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his hands or toupee, he passed legislation for hating the gays. But not only gays, but religions and races, hating all different people with brown and black faces. Staring down from his throne on Capitol Hill, he thought to himself, I must pass a bill. Why, for hundreds of years we've let them all in spite of religion or color of skin. Then he scowled with his tiny fingers eerily drumming. I must find a way to keep them from coming. Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grump got an evil, awful idea. I know just what I'll do. I will build a great wall, and I will make Mexico pay for it all. Then to make it even better, I will sign a new order, keeping refugees and Muslims from crossing our borders. The evil kept flowing from his tiny black heart. I'll find immigrant families and tear them apart. And for LGBT, I'll make it legal again to discriminate against them with a stroke of my pen. The next on his list was the sick and the poor. Free lunches for children were kicked out the door. Meals for the elderly and Medicare was cut, and it felt like America had been punched in the gut. It seemed no one was safe from his evil delight, unless you were wealthy, Christian, and white. The Grump looked around after completing his deeds and looked for his friends to share in his glee. But his office was empty, as was the whole house. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. So the Grump grew very lonely, and he started to cry. Why don't my subjects love me? I demand to know why. Then after months had gone by, all alone on his throne, the Grump finally decided to pick up his phone. He called up sweet Max, his gay friend from school, and he begged him, Max, please forgive me. I have been such a fool. Then Max said to Grump, I will help you, my friend, but first you must put all this hate to an end. And the second big thing that must come to a stop is that thing on your head. It looks just like a mop. Max took the Grump shopping for new clothes and new hair, and he taught him to be friendly, to be kind, and be fair. When his makeover was done and his change was complete, the Grump looked in the mirror and was knocked off his feet. He was no longer a monster, with a mean face and orange skin, with an awful toupee that flopped in the wind. He looked over at Max with a tear in his eye, and he said, Tell me, how could you still help me after my darkness and lies? And Max said to Grump, It is simple, you see. We must love one another, forgive, and be free. And what happened next was a miracle, they say. The Grump's tiny black heart grew 3 sizes that day. He took all of his orders filled with hate and mistrust, and he ripped them to shreds, and he turned them to dust. He held a big rally and let the world know that his ban on the Muslims was the first thing to go. Then he said with his Grump voice, boldly and loud, All people are equal. Stand tall and be proud. If you're gay, if you're Muslim, if you're Mexican or Jew, please come to America. There's a home here for you. Then what happened next was the most shocking of all. The Grump himself, knocked down his great wall.